Lioness gives birth to an extraordinary cub. But minutes later, something terrible happens. The San Diego sky turned blood red as I sprinted toward the big cat enclosure. My heart pounded like a jackhammer against my ribs. The emergency call from Jake had yanked me out of the most important board meeting of the year. Nala, our rescued African lioness, had gone into premature labor, and something was terribly wrong. As the head veterinarian, I knew this birth could make history, potentially the first white lion cub born in North America. But what happened that scorching August afternoon, under the relentless California sun, would forever change our lives and the fate of the entire wildlife sanctuary. Before I continue with this story that'll knock your socks off, I'd like to ask you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications by clicking the bell. As we say back where I'm from, you snooze, you lose, and you definitely don't want to miss any of these wild tales that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. So go ahead and subscribe, and let's get back to what went down at the sanctuary. Trust me, it's crazier than Black Friday at a Walmart. When I reached the lion habitat, the sharp smell of antiseptic mingled with the distinctive musky scent of wild animals. A smell that never leaves you once you've worked in a zoo. Nala's roars echoed through the complex, loud enough to drown out the tour buses in the parking lot. My assistant Ryan, a Chicago native who'd relocated to California for the job, was already waiting with surgical gloves on and a face as white as a New England winter morning. About time, Dr. Sarah. This situation is going south faster than snowbirds in December. Nala's been having contractions for over 4 hours, and the cub seems stuck. We're between a rock and a hard place here. I geared up in record time, faster than a New York minute. Through the observation window, I could see Nala writhing in pain on the straw bedding. Her golden coat was soaked with sweat, glistening under the artificial lights like the Pacific Ocean at sunset. "Prepare the anesthesia kit," I ordered, while checking her vital signs on the monitor. "We need to intervene, but we've got to be more careful than a surgeon with hiccups." As we prepared, Amber, our intern from Texas, shouted, "It's happening! The cub is coming!" We all pressed against the glass like kids at a candy store window. What we saw left us more stunned than a deer in headlights. The tiny cub that emerged wasn't golden as expected. It was pure white, like fresh snow on the Rocky Mountains, with striking blue eyes. A white lion cub, rarer than a peaceful Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. "Holy smokes!" exclaimed Ryan. "A white lion! That's like hitting the jackpot on your first trip to Vegas." Nala began to tenderly lick her cub, cleaning away the birth remnants with the gentleness only a mother possesses. It was a magical moment, straight out of a Hollywood movie, until the emergency lights started flashing, an angry red, and alarms wailed louder than a Boston sports fan at a championship game. "Power outage in the main sector," yelled Mike, our maintenance guy, over the commotion. "The security doors, they're opening automatically." In that moment, I felt a chill run down my spine, colder than a Chicago winter. The heavy steel door connecting the indoor enclosure to the exhibition area began to slide open slowly, a technical malfunction that should never have happened. Outside, the August rain pounded against the windows with surprising fury, as if a Midwest summer storm had migrated all the way to Southern California. Nala's head snapped up, her eyes fixed on the open door. Maternal instinct battled with the sudden call of freedom. "Close those doors, for crying out loud," I screamed as I ran to the emergency panel. "She's going to bolt." But it was too late. With her cub delicately held in her jaws, Nala rose with the dignity of a queen. One powerful leap, like an Olympic athlete clearing the high jump, and she vanished into the darkness, heading toward the wooded conservation area that bordered our sanctuary. "Everyone move it now," I commanded. "But get the tranquilizer guns, thermal cameras, two-way radios. We need to find her before she reaches the hiking trails." The rain intensified, a genuine downpour unusual even for August in Southern California. Droplets danced in the beams of our flashlights like 4th of July sparklers. Nala's tracks were quickly disappearing under the rushing water that turned the paths into muddy streams. "How are we supposed to find her in this weather?" Amber asked desperately as we pushed through the soaked vegetation. "This is like trying to find a needle in a haystack." "Think like a mother," I replied, pulling my raincoat tighter as it clung to my body like a wet Halloween costume. "She's looking for shelter, warmth, somewhere dry for her cub." After 2 futile hours of searching, when our hands were as wrinkled as prunes and the cold had seeped into our bones like a New England coastal chill, we received a call. A park ranger who was checking the perimeter had heard unusual sounds coming from an old maintenance shed. We headed there cautiously, moving as stealthily as Black Friday shoppers, strategizing their attack plan. The small wooden building stood in a forgotten corner of the park, surrounded by ancient oak trees that swayed in the storm like drunk college students after a tailgate party. The ranger, a weathered man in his 50s with a raincoat as yellow as mustard on a hot dog, waited for us at the edge of the clearing. "There's something in there, Doc," he whispered, pointing at the shed, growling louder than my stomach after skipping lunch at a barbecue. With my heart beating faster than a drum solo at a rock concert, we approached the building. The door was slightly ajar, and a faint light spilled out. I signaled to Ryan to ready the tranquilizer gun and peered through the crack. What I saw froze me in my tracks like a tourist spotting a celebrity in Los Angeles. Nala was curled up on a pile of old tarps, her white cub pressed against her body. But she wasn't alone. Next to her, trembling like autumn leaves in a Massachusetts fall, sat a man in a tattered jacket, shivering from cold or fear, probably both. A homeless veteran who had sought shelter from the storm and now found himself sharing space with a full-grown lioness. "Help!" he mouthed silently when he spotted me. My brain kicked into overdrive, working faster than a New Yorker crossing the street. One wrong move could be fatal. For the man, for the cub, for all of us. "Ryan," I whispered, "I'm going in. Alone." "Are you out of your mind?" he hissed back. "This isn't some April Fool's joke. She'll tear you apart faster than kids unwrapping presents on Christmas morning. Trust me, as they say in the South, sometimes you just gotta roll the dice and see what happens." I opened the door slowly. The creak of the hinges sounded in my ears like the screech of subway brakes in Manhattan. Nala's eyes, amber and alert, fixed on me immediately. I held her gaze, lowering my head slightly. No threat, just respect. "Good evening," I said softly, addressing both Nala and the man. "I'm Dr. Sarah, veterinarian from the wildlife sanctuary, and you are—" "J.A. James," stuttered the man. "I just wanted to get out of the rain, and then she came in. With the little one." I moved slowly, inch by inch, like someone navigating a crowded Times Square. "James, you're extremely lucky. She could have seen you as a threat." "She came in shivering," James explained, his voice steadier now. "The cub was nearly stiff from the cold. I lit that old stove. Didn't know what else to do." In the corner stood indeed an old kerosene heater, where a small fire crackled as comfortingly as a fireplace at a ski lodge in Aspen. The warmth had transformed the space into a cozy refuge. "You did exactly the right thing," I confirmed, now at eye level with Nala but maintaining a safe distance. "She sensed you wanted to help." Nala purred softly. A deep vibration I felt more in my chest than heard with my ears. Her cub, this miracle of nature, opened its blue eyes, typical for white lions. "We need to take them back," I told James. "Both need medical attention. Would you help us?" "Me, but I have nothing. You've done more tonight than most people. You didn't panic when a lioness walked into your shelter. That's more impressive than the Grand Canyon at sunrise." With James's help, we finally managed to sedate Nala, gently, with a minimal dose. While waiting for the tranquilizer to take effect, he told me his story. He had been an animal handler for a traveling circus before life hit him harder than a linebacker. Divorce, illness, unemployment. Now he lived day to day, like a tumbleweed in the Arizona desert. When we secured Nala and her cub in the transport cage, I made a decision that was clearer than the sky after a summer storm. James, we're looking for someone with experience in animal care, someone who isn't afraid of big cats. His eyes widened like a kid seeing Disney World for the first time. Are you saying, as the saying goes, new brooms sweep clean, but old ones know the corners? You've shown today that you know those corners. 3 months later, James stands beside me as we present Nala's white cub, officially named Liberty for her color and spirit, to the public. He proudly wears our sanctuary's uniform, his face no longer gaunt but healthy and tanned like a lifeguard on a California beach. The white lion cub became a sensation, with visitors lining up like it was a Supreme Court hearing. And James is our hero. The man who on that stormy night not only saved a rare animal, but built a bridge between wilderness and humanity. Sometimes, when I walk through the sanctuary at dusk and breathe in the scent of eucalyptus and fresh straw, I think back to that night, to the moments of fear that hung like dark clouds over the Pacific, to how everything could have ended in tragedy, but instead became a miracle, like those underdog stories Americans love so much. As we say here in the States, every cloud has a silver lining, but sometimes, after the storm, comes something much better, a second chance.